Yeah. Yesterday, I think we left off at strong desire. So, what is the cause of bhava? What is the cause of rebirth? And so, the cause of rebirth is, I said, strong desire. Strong desire to be reborn in a better world. And there is one more thing which is the cause of, which is the condition of I think which is the cause of birth, and that is wrong view. So when you have wrong view, then you hold on to it tenaciously, and then you acted according to that wrong view, and so your actions are mostly, say, unwholesome actions at that time, and those unwholesome actions will give result as a rebirth in woeful states. So strong desire and wrong view are the two causes of rebirth. I mean, two conditions of rebirth. Before you have strong desire, you must have a weak desire. So first, you have a not so strong desire for something, and then that desire becomes stronger and stronger. So the condition for a strong desire and also the condition for a wrong view is not so strong desire, which is called craving here. So you have attachment or you have desire for something, and then that when it increases in strength, then it becomes strong desire. The cause of this craving, or the condition for craving. Why do we crave things? Why are we attached to things or persons? Because we feel good about those things. We have pleasant feelings about those things. So those things that we have pleasant feelings about, we like. So the feeling, especially the pleasant feeling, is a condition for craving, for attachment. If we don't have a pleasant feeling for something, then we will not be attached to that thing. We will not crave for that thing. So the pleasant feeling is a condition for craving. What about unpleasant feeling? You have unpleasant feeling about something. You will not be attached to that thing which causes unpleasant feeling. But when there is an unpleasant feeling, you long for a pleasant feeling. You want to get rid of this unpleasant feeling and want to get the pleasant feeling. So indirectly, unpleasant feeling is also a condition for craving. What about neutral feeling? Neither pleasurable nor displeasurable. Now, neutral feeling is like pleasant feeling, because neutral feeling is peaceful. So it is like pleasant feeling. So with regard to neutral feeling, we can have craving for. So it is also a condition for craving. So Bodhisattva went back from factor to factor. Now, why is there feeling? Yeah, because there is contact with objects. And here contact means contact, a mental state that arises in the mind, not the physical contact. So when something comes into the avenue of our eyes. Now, there is what we call contact. The visible object comes into the avenue of the eyes, and so there is what we call contact. And that contact is a mental state which arises in the mind. So only when there is contact can there be feeling of that. If there is no contact, feeling cannot arise. So contact is a condition for the arising of feeling, pleasant or unpleasant or neutral. Now, why is there contact? Because there are things or objects which can come into contact, and they are said to be 6 internal and 6 external bases. That means 6 sense organs. In a bit of a mind is the 6th sense organ. So there are 6 senses: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. So they are called 6 internal organs. And then corresponding to these 6, there are 6 external objects. External does not mean necessarily outside living beings. But even in living beings there are these 6 objects: the visible object, sound, smell, taste, touch, and then the other subtle rupas, material properties. If we do not have the eyes, there can be no eye contact. If we do not have the ears, there can be no ear contact, and so on. So these what are called bases, these senses, and also their corresponding objects are called 6 bases. So these 6 bases are the condition for the contact to arise. What are the conditions for the bases to arise? They are mind and matter. Now, the 6 internal bases are matter, eyes, ears, and so on. And among the 6 external bases, there is one which is called mind base. So mind base means mind. So if there are no mind and matter, there can be no internal bases and external bases. So these internal bases and external bases depend upon the other mind, the other mind and matter for their arising, because they arise together and they support each other. Now, what is the condition for mind and matter to arise? And it is resultant consciousness. There are different types of consciousness. Some consciousness are active. That means we create, or we have those types of consciousness. And some are passive. That means some are result of the past karma. And at the moment of conception, with regard to human beings, at the moment of conception, one type of consciousness arises, and that consciousness is the result of past karma. Along with that consciousness, there are what are called mental factors, mental states, some mental states. And also there are material qualities, very small particles of matter. So these 3 we call conception, according to Abhidhamma. So the resultant consciousness and mental states and some particles of matter arise together. But if the resultant consciousness does not arise, then the other 2 cannot arise. So that is why it is called the condition for mind and matter to arise. That mind and matter is also at that point, at that moment, that mind and matter is also the result of past karma. So they arise together. But consciousness is the chief of them. If consciousness does not arise, then mental states cannot arise, and also the resultant, material qualities born of karma. So consciousness is said to be the condition for mental states and material properties, although they arise together, they arise at the same time. Now, when Bodhisattva contemplated on Paticcasamuppada, not when he sat under the Bodhi tree and practiced meditation, but at other time. So when the Bodhisattva contemplated on the dependent arising, he stopped there. His mind stopped there and turned back. That means he asked himself, so what is the condition for consciousness? And then he did not go back as stated in this law of dependent arising, but he went back and he found out that the condition for consciousness is mind and matter. So he comes back. So he said, this consciousness turns back. He didn't go back to mental karma formations and ignorance. So how the Bodhisattva contemplated on the dependent arising. It's not explained in the commentaries why Bodhisattvas stopped there. Probably because it was enough for them, because they had gone through two lives backward. So I think that was enough for them to understand the dependent arising. But if we follow the formula taught by him after he became the Buddha, we find that the karma formations are the condition. Here condition means cause. So karma formations are the cause of resultant consciousness. So karma formations mean just karma, either good or bad karma. So karma is the cause for the resultant consciousness to arise. Now, why do karma formations arise? Why do we do sometimes wholesome karma and sometimes unwholesome karma? According to this formula, we do wholesome or unwholesome karma because we are ignorant. We don't know the reality. We don't understand the Four Noble Truths. We don't understand the law of dependent arising. So clouded by this ignorance or delusion, we do sometimes wholesome or good karma and sometimes unwholesome or bad karma. So whatever karma we do because we are blinded by ignorance. So according to this teaching, we arrived at ignorance. But ignorance is not the first cause, because we can go further than ignorance also. Although the teaching here begins with ignorance at the beginning. But it is not the beginning cause, it is not the first cause. Because ignorance has its conditions also. When people are tormented by old age and death, they become confused. And so when there is confusion, there is this ignorance, there is this avijja. So it goes on and on like this, like a wheel. Now let us go through this formula from the beginning. Because there is ignorance as condition, karma formations arise. Because there are karma formations as condition, resultant consciousness arise. Because there is resultant consciousness as condition, mind and matter arise. Because there are mind and matter as condition, 6 internal and 6 external bases arise. Because there are 6 internal and 6 external bases as condition, contact arise. Because there is contact as condition, feeling arise. Because there is feeling as condition, craving arise. Because there is craving as condition, clinging arise. Because there is clinging as condition, becoming arise. Because there is becoming as condition, birth arise. Because there is birth as condition, aging and death arise. Also, because there is birth as condition, sorrow, lamentation, bodily pain, mental pain, and burning in the mind arise. Now these 5 are grouped separately. If you look at the Pali, you see Jati Paccaya Jara Marana. That is one part. And then Soka Parideva Dukkha Domana Supayasa is another. So they are grouped separately from Jara and Marana. Now, when there is birth, there will always be aging and death. So you cannot avoid aging and death when there is birth. But sorrow, lamentation and so on, they may or may not arise even though there is birth as a condition. In the human world, I think they will all arise. We all have experienced sometimes sorrow, lamentation and so on. So we cannot escape from these results also. But if we were born as celestial beings, we may not have so many of them, but still celestial beings have soka and so on. But what if we are reborn as Brahmas? We will not have any bodily pain or mental pain, and so we will not have these 5. So these results are not the inevitable results of birth. That is why they are grouped separately. So we must understand that they may or they may not arise as a result of birth. So in many existences they may arise, but in some existences like that of the Brahmas, they may not arise. So they are not inevitable results of birth. That is why they are grouped separately. The conclusion. Thus, there is the arising of this whole mess of suffering. So, whole mess of suffering means pure dukkha, not mixed with any happiness. So, this is how this mess of suffering arises. The rough overview of the doctrine of Paticcasamuppada. Now, later on we will go into detail in each link. For example, ignorance and karma formations, and then the link between karma formations and resultant consciousness and so on. So we'll go into detail later. But now I just want you to be familiar with the bare statements of this law, and also the structure of this dependent arising. So if you don't understand fully, please be patient. In this structure, each cause or condition is called a factor or a component of the whole law of dependent arising. And there are 12 factors. What are those 12 factors? You just go through the list. Yeah. In Pali, avidya, sankhara, vijnana, nama rupa, salayatana, hassa, vedana, tanha, upadana, bhava, jati, jara marana. That's all. We don't take soga and others as factors because they are not inevitable results. So there are 12 factors. So these are the factors that make up the law of dependent arising. We follow the line of thought of the Bodhisattva, that is from the end backward to the beginning. So whether we go through this law from the end to the beginning or from the beginning to the end, we notice that this law covers not just one life, but how many? How many lives? Jara Marana, that is one life, right? And then Bhava, Upadana, Tanha, Vedana, Phassa, Salayatana, Nama, Rupa, Vijnana. That is one life, right? And then Sankhara and Avidya, another life. So there are 3 lives covered by this law of dependent arising, not one life. So the first 2 belong, if we take the middle one as present life, then the first 2 belong to what? First life. And then the last 2 belong to future life. So it covers 3 lives and not one life. So here we say the avidya and sankhara belong to the past life or past time, and then vijnana, nama, rupa, salayatana, phassa, vedana, tanha, upadana, and the half of the bhava belong to the present life, and jadi and jara marana, actually half of bhava and jadi jara marana belong to future lives. So it covers 3 lives. If you look at this chart, it will be clear. The present, past and future. So avidya and sankhara belong to the past, and they are causes. And then vijnana, nama, rupa, salayatana, phassa, vedana, tanha, upadana, and kama bhava belong to the present life, and upapatti bhava, jara and marana belong to future life. Now you see bhava is divided into 2 here, right? Kama bhava and upapatti bhava. Kama bhava really means kama, so it is the same as sankhara. And upapatti bhava means rebirth, so it is the same as jadi actually. But the commentaries explain it in 2 ways, and so we have to follow the commentaries. So this is the division into 3 times: past, present and future. Now please look at this chart. There are 4 divisions: past causes, present results, present causes, past results, right? So how many past causes are there in this chart? Past causes, 2. So what are they? Avidya and sankhara. But the book says there are 5. 5 past causes. How do you get 5? And then we'll come to that later. And 5 present results. So they are direct. And then how many present causes in this chart? 3. But the book says there are 5. And then future results. How many? 3. But the book says 5. How do you get these sets of 5? So there's a trick, right? Now, in order to understand that, you must understand those on the right column. Vata, they are called vata. Vata means round. So, kilesa vata, the round of defilements. And kama vata means round of karma. And vipaka vata means round of results. So, the first one is kilesa vata, then kama vata, and then vipaka vata. Now, how many factors belong to kilesa vata? 3. Avijja, tanha, and upadana. With the same typeface. So if you look, if you search for the same typeface, you find tanha and upadana, right? So these 3 belong to kilesa vata. So they are one group actually. They are connected with each other. So if you take one, you take all 3, right? So if you pick up one, then the other 2 also are picked up. So when you take avijja, you also take tanha and upadana, right? And when you take sankhara, you also take right, kama bhava. So when you take avijja and sankhara, you take how many? 5, right? Avijja, sankhara, tanha, upadana, kama bhava. So that is why it is said there are 5 past causes. Two causes direct, and indirectly 3 more. So it is said that there are 5 past causes. Now you understand, right? Right. Some suggested we can use color here. So if you have markers, you can use color. So avijja, tanha, and upadana, one color. Sankhara and karma bhava, another color. And the rest you can leave them as they are. Now, the present results. So the book says there are 5. So we don't have to do anything about it because there are all 5 there. Vijnana, nama, rupa, salayatna, phassa, vedana. They are the results in this present life. The results of the past causes. Now the next. In this present life there are 5 causes. The book says. So in this list we find only 3. So when you take tanha or upadana, you also take what? Avijja, right? Yeah. And when you take kama bhava, you also take sankhara. So although there are 3, actually when you pick them up, you get 5. So the 5 causes in the present life are tanha, upadana, kama bhava, avijja, and sankhara. Now the last group, future results. Upapati bhava, jati, jara, marana. Actually, upapati bhava and jati are the same. So we can just say jati, jara, marana. But the book says there are 5. How do you get 5? Now, what are jati, jara, and marana in essence? Jati, jara, and marana is just one life, right? Jati is birth, and then jara is old age, and marana is death. So one life. So in this one life, what are the results? They are Vijnana, Nama Rupa, Salayatana, Phassa, Vedana. So when we say Jati, Jara, Marana are future results, we visually say Vijnana, Nama Rupa, Salayatana, Phassa and Vedana are future results. So we get 5 future results. So there are 5 causes and 5 results in past, present and future, right? So altogether, how many do we get? How many causes and results? 20. So there are 4 divisions. That means past causes, present results, present causes, future results. And there are 5 in each of these divisions. And so there are 20, and these 20 are called modes in Pali, akara. So there are 20 modes. That means avijja is in the mode of first cause. Tanha and upadana also are in the mode of first cause and also in the present cause and so on. So there are 20 modes, 5 divisions. Now, avijja belongs to kilesa vata. Now, kilesa means defilement. So avijja is really a defilement, right? And tanha also is a defilement. Upadana, strong desire and wrong view is also defilement. So these 3 belong to what is called kilesa vata. So vata means round. It's translated as round. So round of kilesa, round of defilement. And sankhara is actually karma, right? Sankhara is cetana in kusala and akusala cetas. So sankhara is karma. And so is karma bhava. Karma bhava is the same as sankhara. So karma bhava means also cetana. So it is also karma. That's why sankhara and karma bhava belong to karma vata, the round of karma. Are just the results of karma, and so they are called. They belong to vipaka. Vipaka means resultants. So vipaka vata, and so there are 3 vatas. What are the 3? Kilesa vata, karma vata, and vipaka vata. Right. Now, it is said that there are 3 connections between past causes and present results. Right? First causes and present results, and then second connection is between present results and present causes, and the third connection is present causes and future results. So these are called three connections. So these are the things we should know about the structure of the dependent arising. What are we to know about the dependent arising? I mean, it is the structure of dependent arising. 12 factors, 3, let's say, times, and then 20 modes, 4 divisions, and then 3 connections. Oh, there is one more. And that is the root causes of Paticcasamuppada, or root causes of life. And they are avijja and tanha. So these 2 are called root causes. Avijja is the head of one group actually, and Tanha is the head of another group. So they are the most powerful in prolonging dukkha in samsara, prolonging life in this round of rebirth. So long as there is avidya and tanha in our minds, we will always be going from one life to another, one life to another. There can be no end of this round of rebirth, so long as we have avidya and tanha. Once we are able to get rid of avidya and tanha, then this round of rebirth will stop. So they are called the roots of round of rebirth. Now, when Buddha preached the law of Paticcasamuppada, he put avidya and tanha at the head of these groups. Now, avidya and tanha are those that causes rebirth again and again. Minds of beings are accompanied by ignorance and craving, say craving for life, craving for this thing and that thing. They become conditioned for the wholesome or unwholesome karma to arise. And so when there is wholesome or unwholesome karma, there is always the result of these karmas as rebirth in, say, good states or bad states. Okay, now please look at this wheel of life. Now you can understand it very easily. So, number one, avidya, ignorance. And number two, sankhara, karma formations. And then there is a line or spoke. And then number three, vipaka, vijnana, or resultant consciousness. And then nama, rupa, mind and matter, salayatana, 6 bases, phassa, contact, vedana, feeling, one line, one spoke. And then number 8, tanha, craving, upadana, number 9, upadana, clinging, and number 10, bhava, becoming. And that bhava has two divisions. The first is karma bhava or karma process, and the second is upapatti bhava, rebirth process. And that is one line, one spoke. And then number 11, jati, birth, and 12, jara marana, aging and death. So we get 12 factors here on a wheel. Under 1 and 2 in the inner circle, there are tanha, upadana, and bhava. Now you understand why they are put there. Because when you take avidya, you also take tanha and upadana, and when you take sankhara, you also take bhava, karma bhava. So they are put there to complete five causes in the past. And in the second, on the sheet it is blank, but actually, what do we have here? Present results, right? So these 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are present results. And then under number 8, 9 and 10, there are avidya and sankhara. That means you take tanha and so you also take avidya. You take bhava and so you also take sankhara. So when you take tanha, upadana and bhava, you also take avijja and sankhara, and so they become 5 causes in this present life. And then 11 and 12. Under 11 and 12, there are vijnana, nama, rupa, salayatana, phassa, vedana. That is, as I've explained, when you say birth, aging and death, they are nothing but vijnana, nama, rupa, salayatana, phassa and vedana. So, vijnana, etc. are synonymous with birth, aging and death. So when you take birth, aging and death, you actually take vijnana, nama, rupa, salayatana, phassa, vedana. So they are 5 results in the future. So we get the 5 causes in the past, 5 results in the present, 5 causes in the present, and 5 results in the future. And they are designated as passive and active here, and that is by Narada Thera. Passive side of life. Passive means the results are said to be passive. They have no action of their own, because they are like something thrown down and then just they are just there. So they are passive side of life. So they are called here passive side. And karma and others are active, because they create new things there. So they are active side of life. And so the results are passive and the causes are active. And then the inner Musago says past, present and future. So you already know this. And then the 3 connections. The first connection is between number 2 and 3. And the second connection is between number 7 and 8. That means between the present results and present causes. And the third connection is between 10 and 11. That is present results and present causes and future results. So there are 3 connections. This wheel, we have to go on and on and on. So, isn't there an escape from this wheel? Or can we break this wheel somewhere? So when there is avijja, can we do something so that sankharas do not arise? No. So long as there is avijja, there will always be sankhara. We cannot. Then where there are sankharas, can we avoid having vijnana? You did karma, and then you have to get the results of that karma. So there is no stopping there. So when there is vijnana, nama and rupa also arise with it, and 6 bases also arise with it. So there is no way of avoiding their arising, right? The same as contact. When there are 6 senses and six external objects, there will always be contact. If you have the eyes and there is something to be seen, there will always be contact. You cannot avoid that contact. So you cannot do anything about it there. And when there is contact, also there is feeling. You cannot stop that. So when there is contact, there is always be feeling. You see something and then you feel about that. A pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling or neutral feeling. Then, what about craving? After feeling? Right. This is the only hope. Right? Where we can break this round of rebirths or this dependent arising. So although there is feeling, we can avoid attachment. Right? We may have a pleasant feeling, but if we know what to do, we may not get craving. Right? Although we have unpleasant feeling, pain, if we know how to deal with it, we will not get dosa, we will not get dormant, ill will or anger or whatever. So we can break this wheel at this point. By what? By mindfulness meditation. So mindfulness meditation comes in here. So it is only by the practice of mindfulness that you can break this wheel of life. So although you have pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling or neutral feeling, you can do something so that you do not get craving. Craving does not arise in your mind. And that is by applying mindfulness to whatever feeling you are experiencing at this moment. So that is why when you practice Vipassana meditation, you are told to be mindful of the feelings or sensations. So to those that are difficult to deal with are especially painful feelings. After sitting for some time, you have pain here, there, stiffness, or pain in the back, or sometimes there is itching. So when these feelings arise, you can apply mindfulness and you do not have craving. Or if you do not apply mindfulness, if you forget to apply mindfulness, craving will come. You cannot avoid that. So this is the only point in this wheel of life, or in this law of dependent origination, that we can make a break. Once it is programmed, then clinging will not follow, the becoming will not follow, so nothing will follow. But if we cannot apply mindfulness to the feeling we are experiencing at the present moment, then we will go on to craving and then to clinging and so on. So this is the second connection is actually the most important for those who are meditators. You should know that this is a point where we can do something to stop this wheel of life going on and on and on. So that is the second connection. Then the third connection is between this life and next life, actually, between present causes and future results. There also we cannot make a break. So long as there is a karma process, that means so long as there is karma, there will always be birth. So there is no interfering with that also. So among the three connections, the second connection is where we can break this wheel of life. Wheel of life means wheel of suffering. So we can break this recurring of suffering at this point. So avidya and jhana are two important causes for the arising in the future existence. Now sometimes Buddha taught both avidya and jhana in one discourse, and sometimes he taught only one root cause in a certain discourse. But whenever we see avidya, we should also understand the jhana, because avidya and jhana are always, not always, but they are what? Concomitant, right? The jhana is always accompanied by avidya or moha. So even when only avidya is mentioned, we should understand that there is also jhana involved. Even when jhana only is mentioned, we must understand that there is also avidya, because they are inseparable. So this is the overview of the law of dependent arising and its structure. So it is like when I want to show you San Francisco, I first take you to different places and say this is town hall, city hall, this is what else? this is a library, this is fisherman's swamp and so on. But I don't take you into any of these buildings yet. So later I will take you into each building and show you what are there in those buildings. So my future talks will be on detailed explanation of each limb. And so it may be a little involved. So I want you to be patient. And also, if you have time, please read the manual of Abhidhamma if you can. It is a little thick. So if you have some knowledge of Abhidhamma, like the different types of consciousness, the first chapter, and then mental states, second chapter, and then sixth chapter on material properties, it will help you to understand more easily. But if you don't have time, it's okay. Even though you get not, you won't get all of what I give. At least you will get a lot from this class. So if you can, please study this book, the Manual of Abhidhamma. This is latest edition. Uddhamappiya brought it from Malaysia. You may be curious about this thing on the sheet. This is my ego. This is a seal given to me by the government of Burma. This is the Agga Mahapandita, and then my name, Sayadaw Sīlānandabhivaṃsa, and this is the Burmese year when it was given to me. So I didn't intend to put the seal on any of the sheets, but Saul suggested that I put it somewhere so that you can see the seal. So I said, why not put it on this sheet? So you have the sheet, the seal on this sheet. Time for questions.